unsafe, and unsanitary or not accessible for children with disabilities. These conditions lead to more missed school days, resulting in a lower academic performance. Your Excellencies, we ask for strong policies and investments that respond directly to the needs of children across the country. Number one, expand and invest in inclusive high-quality education, ensuring all children, including those with disabilities, can learn with dignity, as well as investing in the future of Lesotho by providing tertiary scholarships. Strengthening child participation in decision-making so that our voices shape the policies, budgets, and programs that affect our lives and futures. Thank you, Khoso Pulanala.
I'll now call upon Honorable Amohelang Tsoteti.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to speak in this August House. As children of Lesotho, today we speak with voices of our peers across the country. We come with hope, but also with the reality that many children are struggling to learn, stay safe, and build a better future. Violence against children remains a major concern. More than half of boys and nearly 1/3 of girls experience physical abuse, often from adults who are meant to guide and protect them. In many schools, corporal punishment is still used, creating fear instead of learning. We need stronger support systems, teacher training, and safe reporting pathways to ensure that all children can learn without fear. Poverty is another barrier that keeps children out of classrooms. Many families cannot afford uniforms, transport, or basic school materials. Some children leave schools to herd animals or work in This is why only 33% of children complete lower secondary, 14% make it to upper secondary institutions of learning. Many futures are being cut short. The learning crisis is also deepening. National assessments show that fewer than half of learners in grade 4 and grade 6 can read or write and do math at the level they should. Overcrowded classrooms, lack of textbooks, and limited support for children with disabilities makes learning even harder. We call for strong policies and investments that protect every child's dignity and future. We ask Lesotho that strengthens its systems to end violence against children wherever it occurs, whether at home, in schools, or in communities. We ask that Lesotho expands its access to inclusive and high-quality education with resources, teachers, and infrastructures needed to help learners grow. We believe that child participation should be built into national planning and budgeting process. Lesotho's children are ready to contribute to solutions, and we ask for a system that listens. Lesotho's children believe in a future where every child can learn, feel safe, and reach their full potential. I thank you.
I now call upon Honorable Prisha Mokotrumel.
Good day, Your Excellencies, honorable members of Parliament, and distinguished guests. I, Honorable Prisha Mokotrumela from Namibia's Children's Parliament, not only stand here as a young woman, but as the voice of 30% of the Namibian girls who cannot complete our educational system. In Southern Africa, especially in Namibia, we see that our girls are high achievers. We see this predominantly in our classrooms, our universities, and right here in the chamber. But I'm not only here for those who thrive in this system, but I'm here for those who have not been heard. For every girl who walks on the stage and receives a diploma, there's a girl whose dreams are crushed and whose dreams are paused and pushed to the side. I'm here for these girls. I'm here for Sama, a 15-year-old girl who had to drop out of high school because she fell pregnant. A girl that can't continue education, but instead has to face the daily struggles of motherhood alone. She wants to go to school, but she simply can't because she doesn't have the support system she needs to take this course of action. The thing is, her dreams have been paused, her opportunities have been limited severely, and her childhood has been cut short because of a lack of parental guidance, or cultural pressure, the lack of limited access to health education, and also because of poverty. Sama's story is a painful reminder that teenage pregnancy is the downfall of girls for their long-term future. before they're even ready to handle the adult responsibilities we see. But Summer is not alone. It represents 3 out of 10 Namibian girls who do not finish school on time, merely because of these issues that I've mentioned earlier, such as poverty, lack of parental guidance, and etc. Your Excellencies, teenage pregnancy is a serious challenge. 1 in 4 Namibian girls become pregnant before they even reach the age of 18.
Time.
That's such a short.
I now call upon Honorable Gerson Tuna Omwene Neumbo.
Your Excellency, honorable members, distinguished leaders, protocol established, good morning. Allow me to begin by recognizing the importance that the government of the Republic of Namibia made at issues like education. The Namibian government has prioritized and ensured that education is free, inclusive, and fair and accessible to every Namibian child. And for that, we thank you, Madam Vice President. Secondly, we want to thank the Republic of Namibia for their bold announcement on making tertiary education free for the year 2026. Once again, thank you. However, honorable members, we have to realize that there's still a lot to do and there's still a lot to tackle. From mental health and psychosocial well-being of every child, irregardless of where they are, to the violence against children. These issues need to be combated immediately and effectively. We then move on to talk about the neglectance of the boy child that has been happening in Namibia. We talk about how only 3 boys out of 10 actually graduate from secondary education. Yes, secondary education. What we are saying is the root causes is beyond key measures that we see on a daily basis, but we should look at the root causes of it. What if it's the neglectance of the boy child, in fact, that they don't have empowerment to do this? We then talk about the Article 39 of the United Convention current that says that every child has the right to healthy, to learn, to grow, and to rebuild their lives. We then talk about how when boys lose place in society, the society loses their. It leads to drugs and alcohol abuse. It leads to neglectance of family members. It leads to the increase of gender-based violence, and that's what we are saying. A problem that is not catered for leads to a leakage of many problems to our members. Lastly, Your Excellencies, all this comes back to one word. Allow me to sum up, Speaker, with all due respect, please. Yes. It comes back to one word, which is Ubuntu. I am because. Exactly. So, honorable members, we can only do this as a united nation, as a group, to collect whatever we have once lost. Thank you, honorable members.
I would now call upon Honorable Ison Zeka Kumbani.
Thank you. So I request more time because I will have to translate. As mudanças climáticas, queridos líderes, são problema da nossa região e para todo o mundo.
Climate change is a serious issue in our country and for the entire region.
E certamente é inaceitável que ainda hajam crianças que sofrem ou que ficam sem acesso à escola, à saúde, quando estes fenômenos climáticos acontecem.
And it is unacceptable that their children are deprived of access to education and health due to the impact of climate events.
Apesar de tantos esforços, nós achamos que é preciso fazer mais para garantir que todas as crianças tenham acesso à educação, à saúde e a outros serviços básicos, mesmo quando eventos climáticos extremos acontecem.
And despite all of the efforts that are being made, we believe that more can be done to ensure that all children have access to health, education and other basic services when climate impacts occur.
Afinal, nós devemos nos adaptar às mudanças climáticas e procurar, de certa maneira, construir infraestruturas resilientes, vias resilientes, de modo que nada falte para as crianças. Os nossos direitos devem estar sempre ao nosso acesso.
We will need to find ways to adapt to climate change and to construct resilient infrastructure which allows the provision of services to continue in the face of climate shocks.
Por outro lado, os adultos, os governos e as organizações devem parar de tomar decisões sobre um futuro que não vão experienciar.
And also, adults and governments need to stop making decisions alone about a future which will not affect them as much as children,
E deixar as crianças liderarem.
and allow children to take the lead.
Porque quando damos espaço às crianças, nós demonstramos, ou as crianças mostram que têm a pujança suficiente para fazer valer aquilo que são os seus direitos e ajudar a desenvolver os nossos países.
When we create spaces for children, it's clear that sorry, desculpa, pode repetir?
Dizia, quando damos espaço às crianças mostram que elas podem lutar pelos seus direitos e ajudar também a desenvolver os nossos países.
When we create spaces for children, they show us that, show that they are able to fight for their rights and create a better future for their countries.
Exemplo que trago do meu país é que, por causa dos fenómenos climáticos em Cabo Delgado, em alguns dos exemplos, as crianças, depois de receber os informes sobre as mudanças climáticas na escola, elas próprias levavam esses informes para as suas comunidades mais recônditas, onde por vezes as informações não chegavam.
One example from my country of Cabo Delgado is when information is given to children in schools around the impact of climate change and how to protect themselves, they're able to effectively disseminate that information to very remote communities and to their families and their communities.
Queridos líderes, é tempo de mudar, é tempo de nos adaptarmos e é tempo de deixar as crianças liderarem a construção de um futuro melhor para a África e para o mundo. Muito obrigado.
Dear leaders, it's time to change, it's time to adapt, it's time to construct a better and a more resilient future for all of Africa. Thank you.
I now call upon Honorable Latoya Arnold Chivite.
Bom dia, muito obrigada pela oportunidade. Meu nome é Latoya Arnaldo Chivite, sou presidente do Parlamento Infantil de Moçambique.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is and I'm the president of the Child Parliament of Mozambique.
Pude perceber durante o discurso da menina presidente do Parlamento de Botsuana que nós, como presidente do Parlamento e países da África, ao nível da SADC, compartilhamos não só da mesma cultura e do mesmo berço, mas também compartilhamos das mesmas dificuldades.
One thing that was clear from the remarks made by the President of the Child Parliament of Botswana was that as children and countries in Africa, we share many of the same challenges, many of the same difficulties.
E uma das estratégias que gostaria que traçássemos como presidente do Parlamento Infantil ao nível desses países da África é que nos fôssemos alicerces um dos outros, não só para aqui estar e traçar políticas, mas dar um intercâmbio entre como um país conseguir resolver uma dificuldade que o outro país também está a passar.
One thing I'd like to propose is that we find ways to exchange information and to work together to share solutions about the challenges that we are facing together.
Pude perceber também quanto ao trabalho infantil. Em Moçambique é notório ver nas ruas crianças que estão ali a trabalhar, crianças que não têm oportunidade de ser crianças.
For example, child labour. This is an important challenge in Mozambique. Many children who have to work and do not have the opportunity to be children.
Este sonho é matado porque as crianças têm que trabalhar, são obrigadas a trabalhar. E um exemplo prático, em Moçambique tem uma prática de levar crianças de uma determinada província, assim que é para a capital. As pessoas que o fazem contam para os pais que terão melhores condições de vida, enquanto não é verdade.
In Mozambique, sometimes children are abducted and taken to the capital, and their parents are promised that they will have better living conditions, but in fact this is not the case. They're taken there to work.
Gostava que o governo olhasse para essas crianças, não só como crianças, como um sonho. E quem estará a cuidar delas, que dessem suporte a essas crianças, que voltassem para a sua família, assim que é o seu lar.
And I would like to call on governments to support these children and see them not just as children, but as people with dreams, and to help them to return to their homes.
Quando falamos também de escolas, em Moçambique temos elevado índice de desistência escolar. E no distrito de Moamba, propriamente em Maputo província, estive lá a trabalhar neste tema de desistência escolar e podemos perceber que as crianças desistiam por conta da falta de alimentos.
Another important issue is school dropout and children not being able to go to school. I was working in the district in Moamba, in the district of Maputo, in the province of Maputo, and I saw that was an important issue there. Children are forced to drop out, often due to malnutrition and not being well nourished enough to learn.
Mas o nosso governo conseguiu parceiros e em algumas escolas tivemos acesso já a lanche escolar. E podemos notar que, a partir da implementação do lanche escolar, tivemos retenção de 100% das crianças que não iam à escola.
Thankfully, our government, together with partners, has been able to provide school meals in a number of schools. And in those schools, we've seen that school remained at 100%.
É uma das coisas que queria congratular ao nosso governo, mas também perguntar-lhes. E as outras crianças que não têm acesso a esse lanche, quem está a olhar por elas?
So that's a great success, but we need to consider, what about the children who don't have access to those meals in schools?
Muito obrigada.
Thank you very much.
I now call upon Honorable Kazimla Adam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kazimla Adam, and today I greet you in the name of Jesus. I was the previous speaker of the Nelson Mandela Children's Parliament. First, let me say that let us not forget about the countries in Africa, Sudan, DRCs, where there is conflicts happening. We need to move so that we can ensure that children's safety is of utmost importance. Allow me to stand on the protocol that has already been observed. I greet the House in the name of Jesus. The first democratic president of South Africa, Utatu Nelson Mandela, he prioritizes the issue of children by ratifying the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Not only is it of utmost importance, but it is inscripted in our Constitution. Today, I want to talk about the problem of child participation. Decisions are being made, but where are the children? We keep on saying nothing for us without us. This leads me to my next point. GBV is a incredible problem in South Africa. About 85 girls in my province, the Eastern Cape, between the ages of 10 and 14 gave birth in the span of 4 months. This is inconsistent as we see that the age of consent is 16 years old, yet children are allowed to be married from the age of 12 years old. Marital rape is still rape. Consensual rape is still rape. In the document of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence Act, there must be a fifth pillar that is added that is specific to the needs of children. The document is about 200 pages long, yet children are mentioned less than 10 times. I also want to highlight that we are in this amazing, amazing venue and event.
Time.
If you would allow me to just finish. Okay. Let us remember that age is nothing but a number. Let us rise, Africans. Let us rise. Make a difference today. Thank you.
Order, order, honorable members, head of state and government to respond to the debates. President of the Republic of Botswana, Prime Minister of Lesotho, Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Vice President of the Republic of Namibia, Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Minister representing Head of State of the Republic of Mozambique, Minister representing the Head of State of the Republic of South Africa, Minister representing the Head of State of the Republic of Zambia.
Your Excellencies, the Right Honorable Samuel Mtsokwani Matekane, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho, the Honorable Retired General Dr. Chiwenga, Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Her Excellency Lucia Witbooi, Vice President of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Thulisile Dladla, Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Mrs. Yvette Agela Ferrao Alani, Minister of Labor, Gender and Social Affairs of the Republic of Mozambique, Honorable Nokuzola Tolashi, Minister of Social Development of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Doreen Mwamba, Minister of Community Development and Social Services of the Republic of Zambia, Your Eminences, most important persons in this House, the young people who have brought us here today, have spoken so clearly, with such blistering eloquence, expressing their felt realities. They are not theorizing. They are stating situations, circumstances that they confront every day of their lives. They have given clear descriptions and outlines of these challenges. They have requested action. They have acknowledged successes where any there are. They urge us to respond to these pressing problems that they have defined with speed, focus, and to translate all the promises that into deliverables. I'm happy to be here with you today on this, your day, to join in this commemoration. We unite to celebrate arguably the most powerful of voices shaping our future, our children. As we commemorate World Children's Day, we honor your courage. We appreciate your dreams and the limitless potential you carry. Every one of you, every child, is a story unfolding in instances waiting to be written, a voice longing to be heard, and a life deserving of dignity and opportunity. This year's theme, My Day, My Rights, From Promises to Action, is not just a reminder, a rallying call and a challenge. It is a call on each and every government of the world, communities, families, and global leaders to move beyond promises and deliver real change for our children. Across our region, too many children still face barriers to education, healthcare, safety, and freedom. We must do more to improve their lives and livelihoods. We must act now. We're here to reaffirm that the rights of every child matter, that every child deserves to grow up safe, healthy, loved, and free to dream, that the voices of our children matter. This event challenges us as leaders, parents, and citizens to renew our solemn promise and retrace our steps with the intent to ensure that no child in our region is left behind, forgotten, or silenced. Global leaders need to reassess their approaches to children and youth engagement. Governments worldwide should ask themselves whether they are adequately and effectively addressing the concerns of their young populations. Let me appreciate the 8 countries that have heeded the call to dedicate this time and commemorate the Day for Children. I believe working together as neighbors, we can provide Africa's children with a full protective platform. In Botswana, children's needs and aspirations are integral to the country's development priorities. Their voices are central to policy making and national development. Hence, Botswana has taken significant steps towards prioritizing the needs of our children through the establishment of the Ministry of Child Welfare and Basic Education. This milestone highlights our unwavering commitment to a human rights-based approach to programming for children. Our ultimate goal is to ensure that every child in Botswana fully enjoys their rights as espoused in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We have domesticated this instrument through the Children's Act of 2009. We, over the years, have reviewed our Children's Act and created structures that act in many instances as early warning systems and mechanisms, some sort of tripwire that raises alarm when the rights of are violated. We have closely been tracking progress made in addressing issues raised by children since the beginning of Zambia, Namibia, and Zimbabwe at the Kazungula bridge in 2021. I'm happy to report that as a country, we have since made considerable progress in digitalization, particularly in the education sector. All senior secondary schools, teachers and students have been provided with gadgets for teaching and learning, including specialized adaptive ICT devices for children with disabilities. There is, however, a persistent challenge of access to high-speed, reliable internet. We aim to extend to every school, every facility, every community, every little hamlet in the country, access to high-speed internet. We have also recognized the unique online vulnerabilities faced by today's children. We are engaging targeted cybersecurity interventions. These measures blend technical, policy, organizational, and legal strategies to safeguard young users, you, the digital natives, in your space, the digital space. In education, we've taken a decision to effect a complete overhaul of the current education system and replace it with a STEAM-based education model where we'll have science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, covering every child without exception. This has extended to curriculum reviews and reforms. It will see the introduction of robotics and coding, among others. Our focus is deliberate: to promote science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, as we've set out in our economic transformation program. We want to create a high-income economy that prioritizes education, that prioritizes you, our children. And to make this happen, we also will be prioritizing the capacitation of teachers with new skills, the upgrading of school facilities, and the use of digital tools for learner-centered approaches. These efforts should help our children become creative thinkers and problem solvers who are ready for the future. I've listened to all of you. I've appreciated the concerns you raise. You spoke with such poise and grace. You were searing in your criticisms where you legitimately had to criticize. You have demanded a place at the table of decision-making. And having listened to you here today, and at all the other occasions I've had the honor of listening to you young people, you amaze me with the depth of your understanding, the expansiveness of your view and intellect, even this early in your lives. You are both fortunate and blessed. You live in an era of easy access to information that can be very useful if harnessed and deployed purposefully. But information which, if not fully and properly regulated, can also become very harmful, very destructive. So we have to strike a happy medium between regulating content to which you may have access and broadening the space for you to access relevant, vital information. And so, one of the things that we need to do is to ensure proper, adequate nutrition in the schools. I've said to parents as I've been traveling around the country that what I'd like to see is a point reached where if a parent is sitting in the home and the child is not there, the parent doesn't get worried, doesn't react with anxiety, where the parent will know that if my child is not here, they definitely are at school. Because school is not just a place for learning, but and must be a place for fun, for these young, brilliant minds to bounce ideas off each other. And with what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've listened to here, I'm more than encouraged. You folks are such a blessing. You've been such a revelation. And I think if we have the likes of you, then the future of this region, the future of the continent is definitely in the safest of hands. So I'm most grateful and humbled to have been here, to be here with you today. I must say I was enriched by listening to all of you. And I was thinking to myself how I would love to spend hours amongst children. The soul is truly blessed when one spends time with children. So thank you very, very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for raising these issues. Thank you for sounding the alarm to our governments, advising, admonishing, appreciating, encouraging. We continue on this journey with you. We want you to lead, sometimes lead us, because I see in each and every one of you a tongue-tied prophet of the future, a future very bright, the future of our continent. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
I call upon the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I just want to start by saying, Your Excellency, Advocate Duma Boko, President of the Republic of Botswana, Your Excellency Constantino Chiwenga, Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Your Excellency Lucia Witbooi, Vice President of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Tulizile Dladla, Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Honorable Ministers present here today, Your Excellencies, members of Diplomatic Corps, our children, the purpose of our today's gathering. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and privilege to join you today on this important occasion of the Regional World Children's Day commemoration under the inspiring theme, My Day, My Rights, from Promises to Action. Together, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the rights, protection, and development of every child in our region. Children are without any doubt assets of our nations. The role that they play and their contribution towards shaping their future cannot be overemphasized. It is comforting also that the international community has taken some steps in the right direction to protect and promote all the children-oriented initiatives, international, regional, and domestic legal instruments. Equally, Lesotho is deeply committed to ensuring that all children, especially the marginalized and vulnerable children with disabilities, orphans, victims of child labor, early marriage, children in conflict with the law, and homeless children are protected and supported since 2010. Our nation has made significant strides in advancing children's rights and services, from enacting progressive laws to implementing effective programs. Excellencies, allow me to highlight some of the achievements by the Kingdom of Lesotho. 24/7 Child Helpline. The introduction of the helpline has become a critical lifeline, providing immediate support to vulnerable children, ensuring they are heard, protected, and directed to essential services. Through these initiatives, Lesotho has promoted nurturing, non-violent methods of child rearing, leading to safer and healthier family environments. With the generous support of the European Union and UNICEF Lesotho, we have expanded mental health services and community-based psychosocial support systems, helping children to recover from trauma and emotional distress. Since 2010, we have increased resource allocations towards health, protection, and education for children, integrating these priorities into our national development plans. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Lesotho continues to provide child grants for over 30,000 households, raising the vulnerable children, and that provides orphaned and vulnerable, to ensure that every Lesotho child has access to basic education. Our children's parliament have played a vital role in amplifying children's voices, influencing policies, and fostering their active involvement in decision-making at local and national levels. We have a private sector-led initiative to mentor children into leadership positions. Today, I bring with me 3 generations of little prime ministers and other little government officials. This is a cherished partnership between the government and private sector to motivate children and create awareness about responsibility of leadership and being able to serve one's country from a young age. As we look ahead, Lesotho remains committed to further investing in programs that protect and empower our children. We call on all our partners and stakeholders to continue supporting efforts that create safe, inclusive, and supportive environments for children to thrive. To all young leaders present here, I remind you that your voices are powerful. Your ideas, dreams, and concerns are essential for shaping our nation's future. Use this platform boldly and let your voices be heard. In conclusion, I just wish to say to you, Mr. Speaker, we listen very carefully to Madam President and other honorables that have spoken before me. And when they were addressing your concerns as children, we as the current leaders, we fully agree and support your ideas. We have heard you, and we wish all your wishes can be implemented as of today. And we'll definitely support that. In conclusion, I wish to commend our host country, Botswana, for organizing this regional celebration, and I encourage all countries in our region to work together in realizing the full potential of every child. Let us continue to invest wisely in our children today for a brighter future, more equitably tomorrow. I thank you.
I now call upon the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe.
Mr. Speaker, sir, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Advocate Duma Gideon Boko, Your Excellency, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho, Motsokane Matekane, Your Excellency, Vice President Witbooi of Namibia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's getting to noon now, if not just after 12. Zimbabwe is honored, Your Excellency, to join our SADC family in commemorating World Children's Day 2025 here in Gaborone. I bring greetings from His Excellency to the Republic of Botswana for the warm hospitality extended to us. This commemoration reaffirms our shared duty to protect and empower our children, the heartbeat of Africa's future. Placing children at the center of dialogue reflects our genuine intent to listen and act on their aspirations, which they have expressed here very eloquently. We have heard the voices of our young people. through the Children's Consultative Forum. Their priorities: inclusion, dignity, and resilience echo our regional goals. Zimbabwe stands committed to transforming at national level. We are investing in child-centered policies. Our heritage-based 5.0 curriculum equips learners with innovative-driven skills. Programs such as homegrown school feeding, keeping girls in school, and school health and wellness ensure no child is left behind. We have outlawed corporal punishment, strengthened child protection laws, and digitalized birth registration to expand access to essential services. We remain vigilant to new threats, that is climate change, trafficking of our children, substance abuse, and online harm. Zimbabwe has launched a robust multi-sectoral response to drug and substance abuse and established psychosocial support centers nationwide. As we celebrate progress, let us renew our collective resolve to make SADC the safest and most nurturing place for every child to learn, dream, and thrive. Excellencies, distinguished guests, our children are our future. Let's act upon their aspirations and let them realize their dreams. May God bless our children. May God bless SADC. May God bless Africa. Thank you.
I now call upon the Vice President of the Republic of Namibia.
Yeah. Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency Advocate Duma Gideon Boko, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Your Excellencies, Head of States and Governments, Your Excellencies, Vice Presidents, Honorable Ministers, distinguished invited guests, distinguished participating children from member countries, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a profound honor and a great privilege that I join you today as we celebrate the World Children's Day 2020 under the theme, My Day, My Rights, from Promises to to action. This theme calls upon each of us to reflect on our duty as leaders, as parents, and as citizens to ensure that every child enjoys the full protection, dignity, which are on an integral part of their birthright. Allow me to say that since the inception of this regional initiative in 2021, Namibia has engaged constructively in dialogue on the challenges faced by our children with disabilities. As a nation, we have remained deliberate in building an inclusive society where every child, regardless of ability, circumstances, or location, is empowered to thrive and reach their full potential. Over the past 4 years, the government of the Republic of Namibia has made a significant progress in integrating disability inclusion into its national development agenda. We have strengthened the policy framework, mainstream disability rights in education and social protection programs, and work to eliminate barriers that hinder equal participation. As we celebrate the 2025 World Children's Day under the inspiring theme, My Day, My Rights, Promises to Action, which I wish to take this moment to acknowledge and reflect upon the important issues raised by the distinguished representatives of the Namibian Children's Parliament. Their voices remind us that our children are not just beneficiaries of our policies, but are active partners in shaping a fairer and more inclusive future for all. I acknowledge the unique challenges confronting both the boy child and the girl child within our nation's education system. Recognizing the challenges faced by the boy child, the growing disengagement of boys from education has become a matter of national concern in Namibia compared to girls. This disparity is evident from the earliest grades, with 0.5% of boys repeating grade 1 in 2022 compared to 13.9% of girls, and continues through to higher education, where females now make up 2/3 of the student body. Research in Namibia has shown that this challenge is linked to multiple factors, including poverty, peer pressure, limited mentorship, and rigid gender expectations that discourage boys from seeking help or prioritizing education. The consequences are far-reaching, as educational underachievement among boys can lead to limited employment prospects, reduced lifetime earnings, and increased vulnerability to risky behaviors. To address this problem, the government of the Republic of Namibia, in collaboration with UNICEF and the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture, has prioritized addressing the issue through targeted campaigns such as the Back to School initiative. Efforts include engaging high-profile advocates such as the Office of the First Gentleman of the Republic of Namibia has been made. Policies have also been implemented to promote foster safer, more supportive communities. The Boy Back to School campaign also working on policies to strengthen school and community engagement to dismantle harmful gender stereotypes by creating a more supportive learning environment for a boy child to promote gender equality in education. Our act on the teenage pregnancy on the girl child. While we address the challenges of a boy child, we must also deal with the persistent issues affecting a girl child, which is teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy remains a leading cause of school dropout among our girls in Namibia. Many girls are forced to leave school due to pregnancy, and those who attempt to return often face stigma, discrimination, and in catching up academically. Early pregnancy, severe girl child complete their education, thereby reducing future employment opportunities and continuing cycles of poverty and inequality. The burden of early motherhood can negatively affect their mental health and their overall well-being. Moreover, research has shown that girls who become pregnant at a young age are at greater risk of gender-based violence, exploitation, and being forced into early marriage, further undermining their rights and their opportunities. Government and community response. In response to these realities, the government of the Republic of Namibia, in partnership with stakeholders, has implemented an education sector policy for the prevention and management of learners' pregnancy. However, we recognize that policy alone is not enough. Preventing teenage pregnancy and supporting affected learners requires a whole of the society's response. That involves teachers, parents, traditional and religious leaders, and also healthcare professionals and community structures if they work together. From a rights-based perspective, we are working to ensure that all pregnant girls and young women receive investigation and support through integrated case management from a social worker. Through the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture, the Ministry of Health and Social Services and stakeholders such as UNICEF, we are strengthening the life skills curriculum by providing in-service training for life skills teachers, building the capacity of school boards to advocate for learners' rights, and empowering girls to make informed life decisions. Furthermore, national and regional school health task forces led by the Ministries of Education, Health and Gender at national and regional levels are operational to identify and refer cases to social workers. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, as we commemorate the World Children's Day and reflect on our collective journey, it is clear that Namibia has made commendable progress in addressing the diverse challenges our boy child and our girls within our education system and society at large. Through robust policies, targeted interventions, and strong partnership, we continue to build an environment where every child, including those with disabilities, is given the opportunity to learn, grow, and succeed. We reaffirm our resolve to ensure that every Namibian child receives the education, the protection, and empowerment they need to reach their full potential. As we look to the future, let us continue to work together as governments, as communities, as parents, as educators, civil society, and development partners to build an inclusive, equitable, and safe learning environments for all. By doing so, we not only honor our promises, but also laid a solid foundation for a brighter and just a future for all our children. I thank you.
I now call upon the Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Mr. Speaker, please allow me to acknowledge the President, who made a very clear and loud statement. A statement that is provocative in the minds of all our leaders. Mr. Speaker, also allow me to recognize our host, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Advocate Duma Gideon Boko. And also allow me to recognize the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho, the Vice Presidents of Zimbabwe and Namibia, and also the honorable ministers representing the heads of state. Above all, our young honorable MPs. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, we have heard these innocent voices, voices that are telling us to be proactive and not be reactive, voices that are telling us to be intentional whenever we deal with issues affecting children. Mr. Speaker, there's no doubt that we have pieces of legislation in place addressing issues affecting our children. In Eswatini, for instance, we have an act that was enacted in 2012, known as Children's Protection and Welfare Act. We have tried to implement a number of issues that are captured in this piece of legislation and many other policies that we have come up with, trying to address issues affecting children. We've done a lot, Mr. Speaker. But listening to today's voices, one felt we haven't done much. And this is a call to our governments, to our heads of state, to say, let us revisit each and every policy, each and every piece of legislation. Revisit, review, and by the way, Her Excellency, the President, said with them. Your Excellency, as a kingdom of Eswatini, we have intentionally addressed a number of issues with our children with disabilities. We have exclusive schools that address the education of these children. But we know deep down that it has to be inclusive. All our public schools and private schools will have to cater for children with disability. A few have responded to that through the Ministry of Education. However, we still have many challenges in ensuring that all our schools accommodate children with disability. And of course, there are many other challenges. Distance to schools, particularly in rural areas. We need to cater for children with disability because we shouldn't leave them behind. But because of such challenges, you find that they are left behind. As a government, we have tried to come up with hostels so that we remove them from far away or remote areas to come and get quality education with, of course, assistive devices to help them move around and also have proper gadgets in such schools. We have a school for the blind. It's a hostel for both boys and girls, primary and high school. We have a school that caters for all children with disability at St. Joseph's, which takes care of our children who are partially impaired and also others as well. We have other schools in the city that takes care of our children who are autistic, but these children are saying mainstream such programs in all schools. Your Excellency, as a country, we have intentionally looked after children who are vulnerable, could be the orphaned, doubly orphaned, or abandoned by their parents. We have such institutions. And also, we make sure that we take care of them in their homes by providing them with decent shelter, food, and so on and so forth. It's a long list, Mr. Speaker. However, what is paramount here is to make sure that we expand the services and we make sure that every child is catered for. And after listening to all these voices, we need, once again, to go back to the drawing board with them and intentionally come up with programs. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for such an opportunity, Your Excellency, the President of this noble country, for inviting Eswatini. And on behalf of His Majesty, we say thank you once again for inviting us and for all the SADC countries who came up with this idea together with our partners, including UNICEF. Thank you once again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I now call upon Minister representing Head of State of the Republic of Mozambique.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to speak in Portuguese, followed by translation. Sua Excelência Duma Gideon Boko, Presidente da República de Botsuana.
Your Excellency Advocate Duma Gideon Boko, President of the Republic of Botswana.
Sua Excelência Samuel Matekane, Primeiro-Ministro do Reino de Lesotho.
Your Excellency Honourable Samuel Ntsokwane Matekane, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho.
Sua Excelência General Chiwenga, Vice-Presidente da República do Zimbábue.
Your Excellency General Dr. Chiwenga, Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe.
Sua Excelência Thulisile Kyatya, Vice-Primeira-Ministra do Reino da Suazilândia.
Your Excellency Thulisile Dladla, Deputy Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Senhoras Ministras aqui presentes, a representação dos chefes de Estado.
Honourable Ministers and representatives of Heads of State here present.
Estimados membros do Parlamento Infantil.
Respected members of Children's Parliaments.
Caros parceiros de cooperação e representantes do corpo diplomático.
Dear representatives of cooperation partners and the diplomatic corps.
Minhas senhoras e meus senhores.
Ladies and gentlemen.
É com profundo respeito e elevada honra que tomo a palavra em nome de Sua Excelência Daniel Francisco Chapo, Presidente da República de Moçambique, que me conferiu a missão de representar neste importante encontro regional.
It is with profound respect and great honour that I take the floor on behalf of His Excellency Daniel Francisco Chapo, President of the Republic of Mozambique, who entrusted me with the mission of representing him at this important regional gathering.
Permitam-me começar por expressar de forma calorosa e sincera a nossa gratidão ao Presidente da República de Botsuana, Sua Excelência Duma Gideon Boko, pelo convite endereçado ao nosso país e pela visão inspiradora que tornou possível esta celebração única do Dia Mundial da Criança.
Allow me to begin by expressing warmly and sincerely our gratitude to the President of the Republic of Botswana, His Excellency Duma Gideon Boko, for extending an invitation to our country and for the inspiring vision that made this unique celebration of World Children's Day possible.
O modo como Botswana acolhe este momento, com cerimônia, rigor protocolar e protagonismo real das crianças, eleva o sentido desta data a patamar verdadeiramente histórico para a nossa região, onde as crianças lideram cada etapa deste evento simbólico e transformador.
The manner in which Botswana has embraced this moment with ceremony, protocol and a genuine commitment to placing children at the centre elevates the meaning of this day to a truly historic level for our region, where children lead every stage of this symbolic and transformative event.
Excelências, hoje vivemos dia especial em que este espaço se converte não apenas num espaço institucional, mas numa ponte entre gerações.
Excellencies, today we experience a special day in which this space becomes not merely an institutional setting, but a bridge between generations.
As crianças sentaram-se nas cadeiras do poder, conduziram o protocolo, debateram e apresentaram seu próprio State of the Children Address com admirável clareza, coragem e propósito.
Children have sat in the seats of authority, conducted the protocol, debated and delivered their own State of the Children address with admirable clarity, courage and purpose.
Elas lembram-nos que o futuro não é horizonte distante. O futuro está aqui, de pé à nossa frente, a olhar-nos nos olhos e a pedir-nos ação.
They remind us that the future is not a distant horizon. The future is here, standing before us, looking us in the eye and calling us to action.
Excelências, quando uma criança fala a verdade na sua forma mais pura. E a verdade que ouvimos hoje é inequívoca. As crianças dos nossos países e da nossa região querem direitos, querem proteção, querem oportunidades e querem-nas agora.
Excellencies, when a child speaks, they speak truth in its purest form, and the truth we heard today is unequivocal. The children of our region want rights, they want protection, they want opportunities, and they want them now.
Elas não nos pedem favores, pedem compromisso, pedem políticas firmes, recursos suficientes e decisões que correspondam à grandeza dos seus sonhos.
They are not asking for favors, they are asking for commitment. They're asking for strong policies, adequate resources, and decisions that match the greatness of their dreams.
É esse o desafio que nos lançam e é esse o desafio que devemos assumir e que nós assumimos.
This is the challenge they present to us, and it is a challenge we must embrace.
Moçambique tem caminhado com determinação nesta agenda,
Mozambique has been walking this path with determination
reforçando continuamente o quadro legal da proteção da criança,
by continuously strengthening the legal framework for child protection,
promovendo a educação inclusiva,
by promoting inclusive education,
combatendo as uniões prematuras,
by combating early unions,
expandindo programas de proteção social, como o recentemente introduzido subsídio para criança, que apoia mais de 121 mil meninas e meninos.
by expanding social protection programs such as the recently introduced Child Grant, which supports more than 121,000 girls and boys.
E avaliando através do Inquérito Nacional sobre Violência contra a Criança as realidades que ainda exigem respostas rápidas e decisivas.
And assessing, through the National Survey on Violence Against Children, the realities that still demand urgent and decisive responses.
Contudo, as próprias crianças lembram-nos que o progresso que alcançamos ainda é insuficiente face à grandeza das suas aspirações. Elas desejam e merecem mais.
However, the children themselves remind us that the progress achieved is still insufficient when compared to the scale of their aspirations. They wish for and deserve more.
Por isso que tomamos nota das preocupações trazidas aqui pelos nossos membros do Parlamento Infantil no que diz respeito ao trabalho infantil, ao lanche escolar, e nós, como Governo de Moçambique, já estamos a desenhar uma nova estratégia para a expansão do lanche escolar para todas as províncias.
And that's why we've taken note of the points raised by members of our child parliament here around child labour, around school feeding, and we've also recently launched a new strategy to ensure the provision of meals in schools across all provinces of Mozambique.
Queridas crianças, a vossa presença aqui é um ato de liderança. Vocês mostraram a toda a região que tem visão, tem voz e tem valor. É a nossa responsabilidade como governos e como sociedade transformar esta visão em políticas, esta voz em influência e este valor em desenvolvimento.
Dear children, your presence here is an act of leadership. You have shown the entire region that you have vision, you have a voice, and you have value. And it is our responsibility as governments and as societies to transform that vision into policy, that voice into influence, and that value into development.
Excelências, o lema que nos reúne este ano, meu dia, meu direito, das promessas à ação, é um lembrete poderoso de que a infância não espera.
Excellencies, this year's theme, My Day, My Right, From Promises to Action, is a powerful reminder that childhood does not wait.
E a história julgará as nossas ações, as nossas nações, pela forma como tratamos as suas crianças.
And history will judge our nations by the way we treat our children.
Em nome do Presidente da República de Moçambique, Daniel Francisco Chapo, reafirmo o nosso compromisso político de fortalecer a cooperação dentro da região, harmonizar políticas que garantam equidade e inclusão e construir uma região que nenhuma criança seja deixada para trás.
On behalf of the President of the Republic of Mozambique, Daniel Francisco Chapo, I reaffirm our political commitment to strengthening cooperation within the region, harmonizing policies that ensure equity and inclusion, and building a region where no child is left behind.
Termino com uma convicção profunda, inspirada nas crianças que hoje ocupam este Parlamento. Quando protegemos uma criança, semeamos a paz. Quando educamos uma criança, construímos progresso. E quando ouvimos uma criança, fortalecemos a democracia.
I conclude with a profound conviction inspired by the children who have occupied this Parliament today. When we protect a child, we sow peace. When we educate a child, we build progress. When we listen to a child, we strengthen democracy.
Muito obrigada pela vossa atenção.
Thank you very much for your attention.
I now call upon the Minister representing the Head of State of the Republic of South Africa.
Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of Botswana, Honorable Titapele of Keropetse, Speaker of the 2025 Sub-Regional Children's Parliament, President of the Republic of Botswana, His Excellency Advocate Maboko, Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, General Constantine Chiwenga, Vice President of the Republic of Namibia, Her Excellency Lucia Vetboy, the Prime Minister of Kingdom of Lesotho, the Right Honorable Samuel Matekane, Deputy Minister of Kingdom of Lesotho, Honorable Tulisile Dladla, our Minister of Labour, Gender and Social Affairs of the Republic of Mozambique, Honorable Iveta Ajela Ferraro Alane, Minister of Community Development and Social Services of Republic of Zambia, Honorable Doreen Muamba, Honorable Members of Parliament of Botswana, and all child parliamentarians here present. UNICEF Deputy Regional Director for Eastern and Southern Africa, Mr. Alison Parker, Chairperson of the National Children's Consultative Forum of Botswana, Ms. Aumake Aron, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow Africans, good day, Dumelang. From the outset, let me thank you, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Botswana, Advocate Maboko, for your kind invitation to His Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa. I bring you warm greetings from President Ramaphosa and most importantly, the children of the Republic of South Africa. It is both an honor and a privilege to be in your beautiful country and to enjoy the warm and gracious hospitality of the government and people of Botswana. Your Excellency, I extend my sincere regrets from President Ramaphosa, who could not join us due prior commitments related to the upcoming G20 Leaders Summit, the first to be hosted on African soil under the theme Solidarity, Equality, Sustainability. At the core of this theme is the African philosophy of Ubuntu, which resonates with the African Union's Agenda 2030, the Africa we want, and related sustainable development goals, namely, leave no one behind. We strongly believe that it is only through collaboration and regional cooperation like this gathering here today that we can address the collective challenges facing our region and continent, including critical issues that children are raising here today. With a South African delegation, we fully agree, and we really congratulate these young patriots to have been able to articulate what is their problem, but also what is government needs to do now. We therefore see the upcoming G20 summit as a pivotal moment to promote greater collaboration between African nations and the rest of the world. Your Excellencies, 36 years ago, the world made a promise to build a world fit for every child, everywhere, including here on the African continent. And 36 years old, we gather here at the seat of Botswana's parliament under the theme, I quote, "My day, my right, from promises to action," close quote. Not only to take stock on how much progress we have made against that promise, but also to accelerate collective action to improve the lives of children across the African continent. As we do so, we must first ask ourselves a question: have we kept the promises? There's no better way of answering this question than to listen to the collective voice of child parliamentarians gathered here today. Honorable members, it was worth mentioning that Convention of the Rights of Child, which is CRC, was the first international instrument that South Africa ratified under the leadership of our first democratically elected president of the Republic of South Africa, Utata Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. The adoption of the CRC by the democratic South Africa was a critical step towards addressing the legacy of our past. So, on an occasion such as this, it is appropriate to invoke the Mandela's word when he said, and I quote, One of the ways we can build a better future for our children is by empowering them through allowing them to speak up for themselves. We as adults have to guide them and to take the ultimate responsibility, but it is something quite different from patronizing. The right of children must importantly include the right to be themselves and to talk for themselves. I close quote. We are quite excited to get to hear and experience that is Mandela's quote taking place during our time. Thank you so much once again to the young patriots. Since ratifying the CRC, South Africa has not only kept the promise, but also accelerated action to give effect to the provision of the conventions, which are mirrored in our constitution. To ensure children's right to survival, we have implemented free primary health care for children under 6, free basic service to poor families, and child support grants. The school nutrition program has made a significant difference, not only in tackling child poverty, but also improving the educational and health outcomes for millions of children from vulnerable families, as we are aware that these children are the most targeted and they are sometimes the most affected. To advance the right of children to protection from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, we have passed laws outlawing child labor, corporal punishment, and child marriages. We have a prescribed minimum sentences regime for cases involving the sexual abuse of children. Additionally, we have strengthened the legal regime to expand the definition of sexual offenses against children, improve our capacity to combat child trafficking, and introduce more stringent conditions for the registration of sex offenders. One of the areas in which we have made the most progress in implementing the CRC is in the right to education. Access to our primary and secondary schooling has reached almost universal enrollment for learners from 6 to 15, with the participation of girls being the highest in the world. The number of no-fee schools has grown significantly. 3 out of 4 learners are exempted from paying fees. To date, more than 1.45 children across the country are enrolled in early childhood development programs as a critical preparation for their entry into the formal schooling. In collaboration with UNICEF and consistent with Article 12 of the CRC, we have institutionalized child participation through the annual Nelson Mandela Children's Parliament, which gives children the right to be heard and have their views taken seriously in decision making. As much as we have made progress, we are keenly aware that much more needs to be done to give effect to the rights of our nation's youngest citizens and to protect them from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Honorable members, His Excellencies, we have seen how poverty and underdevelopment deprive children of their childhood. We have seen how many children are forced to leave school and find work because their families have no money. The ongoing abuse of children, whether physical, sexual, or emotional, is among the worst forms of deprivation. As we mark Regional World Children's Day, we must therefore strengthen our collective resolve across the SADC region and indeed the entire African continent to ensure that every child has a safe, caring, and nurturing childhood. The promise we made 36 years ago to our children, it still stands. It is most relevant now. Let us ensure that no child is left behind. Your Excellencies, I am pleased to announce that South Africa stands ready to welcome and host the next Regional World Children's Day in our beautiful country. Ke a leboga.
I now call on the Minister representing the Head of State of the Republic of Zambia.
Honorable Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency Advocate Doma Gideon Bonko, President of the Republic of Botswana, Your Excellencies, Vice Presidents, Deputy Vice President, representatives of heads of states in the region, our children, the young parliamentarians, the UNICEF country representatives, and all cooperating partners present. May I simply write on the protocols already established. Mr. President, allow me to begin by expressing gratitude and honor to represent the Zambian head of state, President Hakainde Hichilema, who could not make it in person due to other commitments. However, the President has graciously delegated me to share his message. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our children, first and foremost, I would like to thank His Excellency, Advocate Doma Gideon Bonko, President of the mighty country of Botswana, and the government of Botswana for hosting this year's regional commemoration of the World Children's Day for the second time. The high level of attendance of leaders from the region is a clear testimony of the importance attached to the protection and promotion of our children's rights by the governments of our region. In this regard, Your Excellency, I join you, the host, in welcoming the country, the Republic of Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, and South Africa, who have recently joined the regional network. This is an important milestone as we work together to enhance child welfare and development in our region. On this day, we celebrate the youngest members of our human family, who are our children, and recognize the challenges that they face. In celebrating World Children's Day, we are reminded that investing in young people produces positive change across families, communities, and nations. In this year's theme, From Promises to Action, Making Investment That Work for Children, could not have come at a better time than now, when children in Africa and across the globe are faced with many challenges, including early child forced marriages, violence in its many forms, teenage pregnancies, alcohol and substance abuse, defilements, and other child abuses, among others. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our children, every child deserves to grow and develop in a conducive development, and participation can therefore not be overemphasized. Therefore, safeguarding children's rights should start from the very homes where these children are born and raised from. The Zambian government remains committed to the protection and promotion of children's rights. The commitment is being actualized through the following: continued ratification of key international treaties, such as the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. Enforcement of the Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022 to provide for the protection and general well-being of children. The free education policy to allow for more children to access education, secure a better future. To date, over 2 million children have gone back to school in Zambia after dropping out at one time or the other due to financial challenges. This policy is driven by my government's firm belief that education is the best equalizer. The National Child Safeguarding and Child Participation Frameworks, which enhance children's safety and amplify their voices in issues affecting them. Establishment of platforms such as this one, the Parliamentary Caucus on Children, and the Children's Parliament, giving our children a voice in governance. The establishment of victim support units and child protection units under the Zambia Police Service to address matters relating to child neglect, exploitation, and abuse. The continued recruitment of health workers and teachers to enhance delivery in the health and education sectors, respectively. Increased allocation to constituency development funds to allow, among other things, facilitate bursary support to tertiary level education among children and young people. The continued construction of health posts, schools countrywide to ensure accessibility to health care and education by various communities, including children, young people, and especially our children with disabilities. The provision of desks to all government schools countrywide to ensure that all children can learn in a comfortable manner. To date, over 1.4 million desks have been made available to various government schools countrywide since my government took over office 4 years ago. The implementation of keeping girls in school and girls' education, women's empowerment, and livelihood projects to ensure our girls from vulnerable households access education and remain in school. This is one way through which they are kept away from vices such as teenage pregnancies and early forced child marriages. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our beloved children, in conclusion, this year's theme, From Promises to Action, Making Investments That Work for Children, is timely for us to do even more for the welfare of our beloved children in Africa, who are the future of this region. Networking of this nature is therefore important for us to engage and learn from each other as we share honest experiences in child welfare and development. Thank you for your kind attention. I submit.
I now call upon the UNICEF Deputy Director, Mrs. Alison Parker.
Mr. Speaker, Madam President, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Advocate Duma Gideon Boka, Vice Presidents represented here, Prime Ministers, Deputy Prime Ministers, distinguished heads of delegations representing your heads of state. It is an honor and a privilege for me to join this august gathering where we have intergenerational leaders of the African continent, especially the Southern Africa, coming together to discuss the future of this great continent. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered here not just as another event, not just as another gathering, but the World Children's Day 2025 really is a stocktake to translate the several commitments we've made over the last 36 years and to ask ourselves where we are. The children have really positioned a number of critical points for all of us. And this is very much enshrined in the 4 key principles on the Convention on the Rights of the Child. The first being the best interest principle, the second being non-discrimination, and there has been a lot of conversation around inclusion, the third being the survival and development of children, and the fourth being ensuring that we can respect the views of the children within our continent. I'm really pleased and I do commend the leadership of the government of Botswana and SADC in bringing us together here today to listen over the last couple of hours to the voices of the children. They have made very compelling statements. They have asked for standardization of legislation. They have called for equity in terms of access to basic social services, health, education, and protection being fundamental. They have called for curriculum reform to ensure that the learning of the 21st century is relevant and competitive, not just within the global South, but also with the global North. They have called to make sure that the skills that they earn in schools and in institutions are relevant to engage in the private sector, in the banking sector, in the agricultural sector, and in the industrial sector. They have also called for protection from violence. They have asked for their schools to remain safe and not to be a space for exploitation, but a space for growth, a space for nurturing, and a space for exchanging of innovative ideas. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the children have also called for key investments for the future. This requires a rethink. Within the context in which we find ourselves today, a number of the investments that we had in terms of overseas development assistance has rescinded. There's a stronger call amongst us for domestic financing. Within a shrinking fiscal space, we are being called to invest in the most critical resource that any nation can have, and that is its children. And so these are important conversations that we need to have with the ministers of finance, with our parliamentary budget committees, to look at where we are making the investments and if we are making the investments in the right places. I was at a conference just 2 months ago, and I was made to understand that just in 2024, African governments across the continent invested $180 billion in health and education. This is from their GDP contribution. But we want to look at where did we make the investments, and are we doing it to ensure that we have transformative learning that is relevant to the 21st century. For us as UNICEF, we're really privileged to join you here. Within our individual country program documents that we have with each and every one of your countries, we stand shoulder to shoulder with you in ensuring that we work with you in social policy, looking at budget efficiency, and making sure we make the investments where we are going to have the greatest returns within the competitive frame in which we find ourselves. We provide guidance on best practices on how we can look at investment across the board and look at it from an equitable lens, both from boys and girls, as well as from rural and urban, to which the children have spoken to. To our heads of state today, I want to kindly ask that we review the statements made by children. We pull all of these conversations together, and that next year when we meet again, we should be able to answer each and every one of the questions that they have posed to us today. And for us as UNICEF, we commit that we'll stand by you in walking through these aspirations and making sure that the dream of the president does not remain just a dream, but becomes a reality. To the parents and caregivers, and to our teachers who are the front line, the children have spoken a lot about making sure we can provide the love and care and nurturing that they call for. They have called for a stop to violence because the societies we have today are informed by the homes we come from. The future of Africa will be defined by what we do with our children at home and in school. So again, each and every one of you, and we stand together with you as partners to make sure that our schools and our homes becomes the best places for our children to go, to nurture, and to develop. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I want to share that history will not judge us by the statements we make here today, but it will judge us by the transformation we make for the next generation. In the Africa 2063 agenda, we have called for the Africa we want. And today I want to share with you that the Eastern and Southern Africa region has 280 million children, 280 million workforce, 280 million brilliant minds, as we've heard here in this room. It is up to us to nurture, to harness, to tap those talents and make sure we can transform our continent. Within the African continent, I'm made to understand that solarization radiation, we have 60% of solarization radiation in Africa. When we talk about energy, transformative energy to reach every school, every hospital, we want to tap the potential that Africa has. We have huge natural resources. Of course, we are in Botswana, which is the land of diamonds. But we have huge natural resources across our continent. As we tap these resources and translate them into investing in human capital, which is fundamental to the Africa strategy, I believe we can build an Africa for Africa by Africans together. I thank you for having us today, and I wish every child across the continent, and especially in the Southern Africa region, a happy World Children's Day and a future that is bright, prosperous, and great. Thank you.
Order, order, honorable members, is that we, the sub-region's Children's Parliament here assembled, respond to the President's speeches. Order, order, honorable members. The question is that we, the sub-region Children's Parliament, here assembled, respond to the President's speech. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. On the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order, honorable members. I now call upon the President of the Republic of Botswana, Advocate Duma Gideon Boko, to hand over the baton to the next host country.
Motoetso re tsweletse ka tsela ntseng jalo mo nakong ya gompieno Tautona Advocate Duma Gideon Boko is handing over the baton to our next host.
Great pride and pleasure to hand over the torch to the next host of this event. And that host is the Kingdom of Lesotho.
Tshwere tiro e mo ngwageng o tang jaaka re bona ele ngwao jalo gone gore e tlwaelo gore mo phuthegong ya go nna jana we hand over the baton.
I now invite the following honorable parliamentarians to hand over the letters to their respective heads of state and government. Republic of Botswana.
Mothoetsho re ta jalo ko motsubong wa thulaganyo ya rona le thulaganyo ya parlamente, the Children's Parliament, jaaka re ne re hile ene hilo sethogo se sentseng jalo sa State of the Children Address 2025 ene tshwaretswe jalo mo lehatsheng la Botswana mo ngwageng o ke yone tiro e leng gore ngwaga le ngwaga e hapa mahatse a e hapanna mo go itshwareng jalo o ka gakologelwa re mo ngwageng o hitineng re le ka ko Zimbabwe jana re sa tswa go itse go lemoga gore ngwaga o e kana phuthego e taboile ka ko lehatsheng la Lesotho. Mo nakong e sa hediseng pelo re tabo re bona jalo mapalamente a rona buying hotel bone ba ileng gore ba tshwere thulaganyo the children e le jaaka batabo ba tswa ka ha parlamenteng yaanong.
Order. As it is now 1:20, I now call upon the Honorable Leader of the House to move a motion of adjournment.
Honorable Speaker, I move that this House do now adjourn.
Order, order. Honorable members, the question is that do this House now adjourn? Order, order. Honorable members, the question is that do this House now adjourn? As many as are of the opinion say aye. Aye. On the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Mothuetso mo nakong ya gompieno re tabo re lemoga jalo gore ke nako yone ya gore palamente e be e tswalwa jaanong our dignitaries are now proceeding out of parliament as it has just adjourned. Mothuetso mo parlamenteng e sa tswang go wela re ka lemoga dinthantile mmalwa tse leng gore di sa tswa go buiwa di buiwa ke mapalamenta rona our children parliamentarians ba ne ba bua jalo ba tsibogela se se neng se buiwa ke the madam president the child president ana a simolotsa bua jalo ka child a bua ka drug and substance abuse le kgangwe le gone gore gone mme re bua ka ditagi tse leng gore re bona bana le gore ba hela ba le mo go tsone gone mme go ba go simologile ha kae gore ba kgone go nna le that the access to drug and substance abuse. How and do they access them and who actually gives them that? Our leaders are now proceeding out of parliament as it has just adjourned. Mothuetso re tabare tsala la ka tsela ntse jalo re tsile jalo ko motsubong wa thulaganyo ya rona. Nngwe ya dikgang tse leng gore bana ba di buile ka kwana ba buile ka corporal punishment mo lehatsheng la Botswana ba ile ba ama jalo gore ha e sala ka thupa intshiwa mo dikolong e ka re go thoka tsebe go ile go godimo le bone ga ba se thole ba itse gore ke go dirwe jang le gone gore ba ruta bana ba ka thusa ka tselentseng jang go nna dingalo a sala ka go nna jalo ba buile dinthatse di le mmalwa ba buile jalo le ka botsogo ko sekolong ba bua ka the sanitary situation and the sanitation situation in schools water availability of water and good water facilities how good they are and conducive for them ba buile de khantseng jalo ba mile de khandile malwa hela ka tseleng jalo ba buile gape le ka discrimination of disabled people disabled students gore gone mme ntse go na le diemo tse dintseng jalo bana ba bua gape le ka nkgang e leng gore e ka tswa ile go ama kana wa ya go bula dikgang tse dintseng jalo di ra go dirwe jang. They spoke about how condoms are freely available for them as children, but in that instance they don't have sanitary pads available for them. Menstruation is not a choice, but you could say sexual intercourse is a choice. But how do we balance these two? How do we prioritize these two? Puso ya mono Motswana ene ya iphama itama gore gone mme they're going to provide free sanitary towels mme ke tsa gone gore ke kgangeleng gore mahatse ka go harologana ba ikitele sehuba gore ba na le diphetogo mo diemong tse di ntseng jalo ba buile ka content creation ka ha ya mambana ka teng bana ba ileng gore gongwe ba bangwe ba le bannye ba sa itse le gone gore go diragala eng how their rights are infringed in that manner ke dikgang tse dintsi tse ileng gore bana ba di buile e le matshwenyego a bone tota ba buile go le gontsi motho etsho mme le bone matona a puso ba ne ba bua jalo le bone ba tsibogela tse neng di buiwa ke bana mo parlamenteng bana ba tsiboga ka tsela ntseng jalo gona gore ba tlhalosa gore gone mme ba ikaelela go tsibogela dintlha tseo ka thomamo le gone go diragatsa gore melao le melawana e tsibogela matshwenyego a bone ka tsela e leng gore go tana le diphetogo tautona advocate Magiden Bokona bua jalo gore it is time to act now, it is now time to act ba buile ka tsela ntseng jalo le baeteledipele ba mahatse ka go harologana ba tlhalosa jalo gore nako jaanong e gorogile ya gore go tsewe dikgato tse di bonalang di diragadiwe ka gakologola gape le yone Vision 2063 ya Africa, the Africa Agenda re ne ra garauta ba jalo gore we should not leave anyone behind kana no one should be left behind. Motho etso ke yone World Children's Day 2025 ka ha e tsamaileng ka teng mo tsatsing la gompieno le mo ngwageng mo Gaborone mo Botswana re ta bona gape mo ngwageng o tanka ko Lesotho gore gone go tabo go tsamaya ka tsela e ntseng jang mme ke yone the State of the Children's Address tsala la hela ntse o ikantse rona go tswa go na kgomotse go tukilele le koko go tswa ka kwa parlamenteng re go lebogile.
A very interesting interaction out in Parliament as we celebrate Children's Day. SADC nations, about 9 SADC nations gathering in Botswana to celebrate this particular year's celebration of Children's Day. One thing in particular of the 200 gathered children at this particular event is that they have sent a strong message to the Southern African leadership to prioritize them and put them as a key factor. Well, we definitely will love to go out and celebrate the rest of Children's Day with all the children out there, wherever you are and wherever you're watching this from. Go out and celebrate with your kids and ensure that you get to involve them as a part of decision making and indeed as a part of a day-to-day running of the household. This is a way in which we can teach them responsibility as well as growth. Well, that insert brings us indeed towards the close of Botswana Connect as we engage into as we close off and indeed engage into the next part of the episode. We will be leaving you though with an insert with children having given a strong request to Southern African leaders to keep their promise and translate children's policies into tangible actions. Speaking this morning at the Regional World Children's Day 2025 commemoration, which was of course held out in Parliament, the young people of Southern Africa have called for strong government commitment towards the rights and protection of their rights in education as well as health, amongst others. Well, that's an insert that we will be leaving you with as we eventually and close in on Botswana Connect. Well, it has been a very productive day in the office. As we close it off, by saying between time and in the meantime, please stick and stay with the news channel. Good afternoon.
Today marks a very special milestone to the